What's up, guys? We got another day here jam-packed with a bunch of little tiny fixes. One of them being these stupid hood prop releases that always break on Hondas. Keep watching. So I got two more big jobs for this car right here. And one of them is the brake upgrade and the other is the engine build. Now, I have a habit of fixing every single thing that's wrong with my cars right before I sell them. So that way I can say that there's nothing wrong with it, that they're mechanically sound. But then I always get in the car and I always wonder why I didn't do that well beforehand. So what I've been doing with this car before I do the brake upgrade and before I do the engine build, which are coming soon, I promise, I've just been fixing every little thing that's bugged me about the car ever since I owned it. So today we have a few things that we're doing. We're replacing this hood release that broke. I'm also replacing one of the sun visors that's bad. And then I have an issue with the reverse lights not working correctly. They come on in 5th gear, which I will show you. And then I also bought a center console for this car. It's never had a center console, so we're gonna go ahead and put new fabric on this guy, cleaned it up. It's really dirty. It's been sitting for a long time. Put new fabric on it and put it in the car. That way I have a center console. Technically, after that, the only thing that's left to do, which there will be another video on, is I deleted the airbag in the driver's steering wheel, obviously putting an aftermarket wheel in. I want to fix the wiring so the airbag light goes off. And that is the last thing that's wrong with this car, other than visual stuff. But mechanically, after I do all these things, it's going to be completely fixed, and I'll be able to enjoy the car for the remainder of the period that I own it, which should be for a little while at least. So the first thing that we're going to try to tackle is the reverse light issue. So this may actually be mechanically something broken inside the transmission on the 5th and reverse selector, and that might be why this is happening. But from what I read online, it can also be the reverse switch. It might just be like broken in too much and really sensitive and turning on in 5th gear when it shouldn't be. So if we turn the keys forward here. Okay, my compressor's probably gonna kick on. Yeah, compressor's on. But if we put the car in 5th gear and we come back here, you can already see it, but see the reverse lights are on? That's in 5th gear, so basically I'll be going, 50 on the road, and I'll put it in 5th, and the person behind me will see reverse lights and think I'm like about to throw it in reverse and run into them. So that's actually going to be the first thing that I try to fix. I'm going to replace that reverse light switch. Recently I've just had the reverse lights unplugged completely, which sucks because you don't have reverse lights when you're in reverse. So we're going to go ahead and swap out that switch. I got one from a junkyard car, and see if we can get that working. The reverse switch is on top of the trans down here, and while I can get a wrench on it, there's not enough room for me to actually spin the wrench and loosen it. So I'm going to go ahead and take out all this intake stuff on this side and get it out of the way so I can actually work on getting that reverse switch out.
You might be the one taking me home. One thing really do want.
Alright, now that we got all that out of the way, if you look right here, that is the reverse light switch. This boot kind of comes up and there is a 19mm nut. You can see it right there on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put the wrench on that and just go ahead and back this thing out, and we should be able to replace it. And then over here, I want to point out that it just plugs in right here. Don't mind this. This is actually, when I put this transmission on, I pinched these wires between the bell housing and the engine, and I cut them. I ended up having to pull the trans off to retrieve this. It was a pain in the butt. But that's why these are spliced like that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take that reverse switch out, and then we'll go ahead and give it a shot. Alright, now here's one thing that I want to note. This is the one that I just pulled out of my car. This is the one I got from the junkyard. This is from an EG Trans. The Trans that's in here is out of an EG Civic and EX. The one that I pulled out at the junkyard was from, I think it was from a Y8, so an EK EX. Sorry, this one. This is the new one. They look identical, but this one actually had this washer on it. So I'm going to put this washer on there, which is going to space it out a little bit, and that might be the difference that will keep the reverse lights from switching on. I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to go ahead and put the new one in with this washer and see. We'll make sure the reverse lights still come on in reverse and that they don't come on in 5th gear. Another thing that I do want to point out that I forgot to mention is that this had one of these stupid clips on here. I hate these, and I didn't want to mess with it, so I just took the whole bracket off and then took the clip off after. I'm going to put this bracket back on the transmission now.
Things they think they know, baby, that's why I just be free and let it all go.
All right, I got it in and plugged in. We are going to check, see if it's still doing the same thing. Hopefully it's not. If it is, it's probably a transmission issue. Fingers crossed. All right, they're not on. Let's make sure they work in reverse. They work in reverse. We are good. Sweet. Alright, now we just gotta go ahead and throw everything back together. I'll do that as quickly as possible here.
I don't care what you say, you should. Don't matter to me, 'cause I want you.
Alright, we are all back together now. And the new reverse switch is in. Next thing that we are going to do is something super simple. We're going to replace the sun visor. The sun visors are actually super easy to change in these cars. I believe they're 2 T25 Torx bits. To get to them, you can kind of get to this side one right here. I have a T20 in here, but it'll work. Either that or a flathead. There is a slot for a flathead in there too. But I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this one, which you can get to like this. And then to get to the second one, you have to pull this. Oh, I guess I should explain why I'm replacing this in the first place. So first of all, it's nasty. You can see it's like pretty torn up. But that's not even half of it. It doesn't go up all the way. So you push it there and it falls. And then it slowly falls down to like right there, which is annoying when you're driving. It's kind of, you know, in your face a little bit. And I keep having to push it up like every 5 minutes. That's actually why this is so worn away, is from pushing this up all the time. So to fix this, go ahead and pull that back. I know my headliner is kind of gross. There's a gross spot right there too. I don't know what all that is, to be honest with you. But my headliner is pretty nasty. But anyway. Take this one out. It's almost kind of like comical how clean this one is. I touched it with my dirty fingers up top. But like, look at the warning sticker and the airbag sticker right here. There's no holes. There's actually like padding in there. Like, look how thick this is. Now take a look at this one. Airbag's worn off. There's holes. There's like no padding on here. That's dirty as hell and worn off. It's funny. It makes you wonder kind of how it could get like that. Now it's kind of really funny looking at that one and then this one. Like this one, I thought this one was in good shape. That's pretty gross. This whole interior needs like a full cleaning. But it's like I almost need the second one of those now. You can see the color difference between the two. That's funny. But yeah, this is nice. Cost me like $5 from the junkyard. So Next thing we got to do is replace this guy down here, and I'm going to show you how to do this. There's actually two ways to replace this. So I guess you could say the proper way to replace it would be to replace this latch, and then the cable goes from the latch all the way down through the fender to the firewall into the car, and then there's the release. The actual thing that you pull on is like glued to it, assembled from the factory. You have to get the whole thing, and I actually did buy the whole thing for my last car, and I tried to replace it, and I broke one of the screws for the latch, so I said screw that. So I bought one of these, and it was super easy to replace, so I bought another one of these. So what you get is a billet actual like hood release thing here with a set screw inside. Now the plastic from the original one is still on there, so you have to Dremel that off first, and then this slips over the metal rod and just bolts into the side. I'll show you how to do it. It's like super easy. So the first thing that we got to do is take off this panel. To do that, there's normally a clip right here. Mine's broken. It's just like one of those things that push in. And then there's this right here, which is like a plastic clip. Just turn it counterclockwise like a screw. I'm going to go ahead and pop that out, and then this whole thing should come out. I can't remember if there's any clips holding it in place. There might be, but it will pull out after I remove that. I'm just going to yank on it. There you go. Next, you can see if I pull on this, there's this plastic on the end here, this black plastic that I'm lining with my thumb. And you just have to take a Dremel and Dremel all of that off till it's gone. It doesn't take too long, maybe a couple minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I apologize if the view wasn't the greatest, but once you get it pretty worn down, you can just pull all the plastic off. That's what I did. And you got this piece right here that was around there. So I'm going to vacuum all this in a bit, but first I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'll vacuum first. Now all you do is slide this on there. Make sure you have it straight and tighten the screw on the side. Beautiful. That's all there is to it. Now I got a working hood release again. Beautiful. The last thing I want to do is start taking this thing apart, see if I can get like that fabric off the top part there. There's a whole bunch of screws underneath. Alright, so now we got this piece, and all we got to do is put new fabric on it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this downstairs into my house. Alright guys, I got my mini Lego table. I got my Super 77 adhesive and a little bit of gray velvet material, and we're going to go ahead and reupholster this. Alright, it took about 20 minutes, but as you can see, it's pretty good. There's a little bit of creasing there on the back, but I think once I put the inside piece in, that will pull all of this tight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now before all the adhesive dries. But other than that, it turned out really well. Okay, so just ignore like all that nasty, because this thing needs to be cleaned really bad. But the top of it looks great. You can see it's like a little bit wrinkly on the back, barely. Nobody's ever gonna notice that, I hope. So I don't feel like doing it again. The sides all look really good. I might have got some like adhesive on the outside, but if we look at the inside, you can see how I got the centerpiece in there now. And I have never seen one of these with like new fabric on it, and this just goes to show how easy it is to completely make it look new again. I just used gray velvet. It's like an interior color. Looks really, really nice. And I wanted to get this put in the car today, but it's getting late now, and I don't feel like spending the time to clean this because I'll probably do it half-assed, and it just won't be up to my standards if I just throw it in right now. So go ahead and take care of this tomorrow. It does need to be epoxied on the back as well. There's a crack down here, so I have to epoxy that and then clean this whole thing, and then I can go ahead and put it in the car. So anyway, I'm getting this car where I want it to be so that I can enjoy it while I own it without, yeah, I already explained it. I don't have to explain it again. But I'm getting closer, so I just have to get that armrest in, and then all I have to do that I can think of is get the airbag light to turn off. Everything else works. Then we can go ahead and do the brake upgrade and start building the motor. This is going to be an awesome build. Next video is actually going to be taking a break from this car. I got new headlights for the FRS. They're sweet. And you will see in the next video. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video if you liked it. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Peace out.